listeners, welcome to another episode of the Snowy's Camping Show, joined as usual by myself, Dan, and my colleague Lauren. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm well. Hey, subscribe if you haven't already to our channel via YouTube or your favourite podcast app, wherever you listen into us, and jump in on the conversation at the Snowy's Camping Show Facebook group, where both Lauren and I are on there, and our other guests are all there now, building up quite a community on there, just to get some general chit chat around camping and outdoors. And today, no specific episode. We've done a Q&A. We're doing a Q&A episode. So
yeah, we sort of try and do a couple of these a year roughly, and we haven't done one for a little while.
Yeah, a little bit of like tell us what you want to know rather than us telling you what we think you should know.
Yeah.
With Q&A. So we've got a little blacksmith camping canvas bag here full of questions. I haven't actually looked at them, to be honest with you.
I've had a quick skim through.
You have? Okay. Yeah. So it's largely straight off the bat, just raw questions.
Yeah. There's a couple in there that I've seen and I've been like, oh, shivers.
I wonder what you're going to say then.
Yeah, I keeping it PG. Yeah, shiver me timbers.
Okay, well, there's
so good luck.
These are all cut up and in here by random. We're going to pull it out, and this is from our Facebook group, Instagram, YouTube. Anywhere people tune in or find out about us. So, and a whole mix of questions. So we're going to see how far we get today with these questions, because I think there's a few in there, and if we ramble on for too long, we might draw a line in the sand and
we might do a part 1, part 2 type thing
next week, but we'll see how we go.
Give it a go.
Yeah. Hey, have you got your Crocs on?
I don't have my Crocs on today.
Oh, why not?
No. Well, because I'm wearing forest green leggings today, and I just was like, you know what? I'm not sure about the orange Crocs and the forest green leggings today. But
so what?
I did wear them a significant amount on the weekend. And my youngest lad, because sometimes when my kids are a bit rowdy in the afternoon before dinner, we just make them go and do a lap of the block or something to get their wriggles out before we sit down for dinner. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? And he's legged it out the door. He's got my orange Crocs on. He's like, I'm going to wear safety Crocs.
Did he get the soles dirty?
Nah, because I've been wearing them out already. So nice try, but
out of curiosity, what attire does a pair of orange Crocs go with? Obviously, you draw the line at orange or green pants that you've got on today.
Yes, I have worn them with my jeans, and I've worn them with my normal sort of leggings and stuff, like greys, charcoals, denims. I actually did wear them with my I have like sort of, I don't know, what do you call them, like beige khaki neutrally kind of tracky pants, and I have some other like wide leg flare pants, and I wore them with them. Just wear them with everything. For
people who have no idea what we're talking about, Lauren bought a pair of orange Crocs recently, and they were featured on our Facebook group. And there's a push for me to get a pair now, but it's not going to happen. So anyway,
it will. I'm just going to keep working on it. I'm going to take it to the higher ups, and it will be an order from an official employment order for you to wear them. Then you won't have a choice. Right, let's go with this first question.
All right.
Getting a bit silly now. Me go first.
You go first.
I feel like I'm picking a lucky dip. Oh no, chomp. I want something better than that. Right, here we go. Oh, okay.
Who's it from?
Sorry, Dilly. It's from, I'm going to get this wrong, I reckon. Dilly Patharana, which is the Instagram handle. Dilly Patharana.
It's a question from Instagram.
Can you repair a sleeping mat if it leaks out of the seam or around the valve? If yes, how?
Okay, you've done a video on how to repair a mat, but I don't think you've really covered in detail on the seam or the valve, which is much more difficult.
It is much more difficult, and generally if the seam or the valve are probably one of the only guaranteed to be covered under warranty type leaks that you can get on an air mat without sort of having to assess them and what have you, because generally they are attributed to a manufacturing fault in those points. So if you do have a mattress that's leaking around the seam and the valve, I would definitely suggest that you get in touch with the retailer where you bought it from and have a warranty assessment on that, because that's generally
if it's a new mat, that is, if you've had it for 20 years.
If it's within the warranty period.
Yeah.
But if you've had it for a long time,
I'd say it'd be worth a try. But it's probably just going to require not a very pretty fix of
definitely won't be pretty.
A lot of Storm Shore or Seam Grip type glue.
Yeah.
And I would probably just go to town with covering where the hole is and expand that glue a long way along each side to try and create a seal.
Because I have heard of a woman who was pushing their X-Ped mat into the back of their car or something. There was like a little bolt sticking out of the chassis and it tore a massive gate, like about 1.5 foot in her X-Ped mat.
Oh, no.
But she still managed to repair it using like going to Spotlight or a fabric shop and getting like a nylon sort of ripstoppy type material, and then just a huge amount of seam grip. And that sort of sealant and whatever, and just sort of lathered it on. And of course it wasn't pretty, but it did the trick, and her mattress was still up and running. So yes, you can in theory, but you would need a lot of seam grip and potentially a bit of extra fabric.
Yeah. And if it's a long tear like what you talk about there, good idea to include some fabric or even gauze or something just to strengthen the glue. So you're putting a bit like a foundation when you lay a house, you put the steel foundation in it.
Yeah.
Putting gauze or a bit of fabric in amongst that glue helps strengthen it up.
Yeah.
But I know seam grip is something I've played with for many years or used for many years.
Brilliant.
And I've put a cut in a piece of fabric. I used to have it in a store that I worked in just to demonstrate, and just put a big thick strip over the top, and you could stretch it and it would, like, you could see the strip separating. Yeah. But the seam grip covered it up. Yeah. You certainly can do it, but you're just going to have to probably use a lot of glue.
Yeah. And yes, it's not going to look pretty. But good on you for repairing it as well instead of chucking it out. I think that's pretty good.
Can you recycle an air mat?
I don't know. PVC. Good luck, by the way.
All right, next one. This is from Instagram. His Instagram handle is Turin with Snitty.
Hey, Snitty.
Hey, Snitty. Do you guys know if when the JetBoil Genesis Basecamp is coming to Australia? This has been on the cards for a while now, hasn't it? And it's all in the handles.
It's all in the hands of the AGA, Australian Gas Association. Yep. Ultimately, do you guys know if, yes, when? Not so sure.
Yep.
MSR Pocket Rocket 2, I believe, was in the hands of the AGA waiting for approval for like 18 months, potentially even more. I mean, I am just sort of pulling that out of nowhere, but it was a really long time.
Yep.
And the Pocket Rocket 2 was in Australia and it was sitting there. It just wasn't able to be sold. Yeah. So I think it's one of those situations where it shouldn't be too much longer now because I think it is in the final stages, but it is a waiting game.
It's a painstakingly long process just to get these things. And they're approved overseas, but the Australian standards, I don't know why, are just long-winded to get it done. And
they're obviously there for safety, and I think when you compare against some other countries, it's a little bit like, okay, well, yeah, these things actually are in place to keep us safe, but sometimes it can be a little bit like, come on.
So don't get angry at the retailers or the wholesalers because they want to get it on the shelves. Yeah. It's the red tape that they're waiting for.
Yeah. And sometimes it could even just be a matter of the wording in the beg my pardon, not necessarily the product itself, but the wording in the product manual or the instructions or the warnings, and making sure that all of that information is in line with our guidelines as well.
The Genesis, is that folding?
Yeah, it's the folding one.
It's like a small.
So for people who don't know, it sort of is like a giant plate. And you, but it's sort of like a hamburger, I should say, and it's hinged on the edge. And when you open it up, you've got these 2 burners, but then you close it or a film cassette or like old 8mm film cassette, whatever.
It's like a really small version of a 2-burner camp stove as such. But it's been around for quite a while. It's been around
for yonks in America, but alas.
But we can't give you, that's all we know. So it's going to be here.
Have hope, Snitty. Snitty.
During with Snitty.
I was thinking.
I'm going to assume that's a planned schnitzel.
Maybe. Schnitzels are delicious.
Next one.
Oh, it's my turn.
Your turn.
There you go.
You said you dig from the bottom, the very bottom. Everyone's waiting. You can hear this rustle. As you just go, I want the one right down the bottom there.
Bit of variety. Okay. This one is from YouTube. Lamia Girl. Perhaps one for Kev. What would be the ultimate spare kit items that Kev would pack for extended caravan travel off-road, e.g. tools, D-shackles, water tank, bungs, locks, fuses, etc.? Don't want to pack everything, just a few things that could get you out of a bind. Thanks.
So I've done no preparation, but have you had a
so
chance
I've got
to ask
a message from Kev here that I'll quickly read out. But ultimately what's come of your question, Lamia Girl, is that we will be doing an episode with Kev, caravanning with Kev, just pretty much on this topic.
Just the emergency spares.
Just what he
extras.
packs as spares or extras to cover him when he's doing off-road caravanning. Okay. But basically it's quite a long message, but I'll read it out for you. It's ultimately a big list, but the basics would be a comprehensive toolkit, a set of wheel bearings and hub seal, any hoses or connectors and things under the van. He takes irrigation joiners, straights and elbows and sizes to suit all his hoses, 2 spare wheels as well as plugs for minor punctures. And then he goes on to say quite a lot about broken springs and axles and chaining in place with turnbuckles and all of that sort of jazz, but then acknowledges it's quite complicated and it does depend on the situation. So we'll delve deeper into an episode on that.
Yeah.
A roll of duct tape and insulation tape and some wire so you can tie anything up or, duct tape is given, I reckon.
Yep.
Replacement fuses to suit whatever fuses you have in your car or your caravan. And there's lots more, and he could be typing for ages as some of it needs a lot of explanation, but he thinks a podcast would be a great idea. Well, so watch this space because that's a brilliant question.
So podcast on spares to take your caravan.
Caravan and you could probably say caravan or camper.
Yep.
When you're going sort of off-road.
Cool.
Excellent question.
Yeah. We'll get Kev on board. Okay, another YouTube comment. This is going to be a quick one to answer from Jack Benstead. Mm-hmm. Do you two have an Instagram page so that we can see the types of setups you guys are running as well? No.
You don't because you are lame and have no idea about socials.
Lame? What do you mean I have no idea about socials?
It's 2022.
I comment on the Facebook group and
You're
stuff.
not really lame.
I'm not a you feel guilty now?
Yeah, I do. It was unnecessary.
I'm not plugged in. When I'm out, I'm unplugged. Even when we went on our big half lap recently, my wife even said, do you think you should maybe just update your family?
Make an effort.
Okay, fine. We'd set up this like a WhatsApp group to make it easy just to send updates. And she ended up just copying and pasting what she sent to her parents, just send it to mine.
Yeah.
Because I'm just switched off. I'm watching the sunrise and the sunset and
not thinking about anyone else or anything. Yeah.
So I don't, sorry. But we'll talk a lot about I think I actually went and answered this question not knowing it was supposed to be saved for this episode.
But that's okay.
On YouTube. But we talk a lot about our setups.
I have a personal Instagram, but it's not really I don't really use it. It's not really anything that I sort of interact with super much. And probably also, stuff that's not, I think, because obviously people who listen to us and get to know us and all of that sort of jazz, it's through our capacity in, our work at Snowy's, which is quite different to also our private lives at the same time.
Yeah.
And so, but I have thought about it because often if I'm going away camping or, like I think when I did that air trip and I shot you guys a photo of our setup with the tarp up and everything, it looked really cool.
Yeah.
Stuff like that would be really great to be able to share in a more meaningful way. So it's probably something I have considered. Getting an Instagram up that can be more of a public thing that is more relevant to my camping life specifically.
We have a
but I don't know. It is a good question.
Each of us that we use, but that's really just there so we can.
We don't actually use those pages, do we?
No, it's really there as an identity so we can talk to our people know it's coming from us and not actual Ben from Snowy's or Lauren from Snowy's. But I've thought about taking photos of my
Considering you don't really camp at all. I'm just taking a stab at you.
I've not been away as much as I would like to recently because my kids have so much going on.
It's okay. Look, I think it's definitely a good question and I am going to ponder it with more seriousness moving forward now.
I think people would be grossly disappointed with my setup. It's very simple.
Okay.
Anyway.
Maybe I'll just make one and then I'll just come and to your house and I'll stalk you and I'll put your stuff on my page.
Okay,
that seems fair.
All right. Just one comment. Then we'd have to maintain two Instagram profiles, just one. We'll just call it
Lauren and Ben from Snowy's. Okay, moving on. Excellent question.
Okay,
Potentially. Watch this space.
I did say that
It's
was
a good
going to be
idea.
a quick one to answer.
And it wasn't.
Yeah, anyway.
It's Monday morning. I think we're just having a time of it.
Yep.
Karen Smart from Facebook. Hi, Karen. Camp meal ideas, preparation, etc. I'm slowly working my way through the back episodes, so it may have been covered, especially for those doing only stove cooking. I have been thinking about recently doing an episode purely just on meals. Do you know what I mean? Like doing sort of like a bit of a meal plan through your trip, because I know we've done it with Kate for hiking.
Yep.
And I know we've touched on it, I think earlier in the season we did an episode around keeping food fresh, and we talked a little bit about the foods that we take and how we do it. And then I know maybe in our fridge and icebox episode or our camp, we did an episode around our camp kitchen essentials. And I feel like it's something we've touched on a little bit in the past, but we've not had a dedicated episode to recipes and meals specifically. So yeah, that's a really great idea, Karen, but ultimately trying to sort of prep as much in advance as you can. Things that I like to do, for example, is if I know I'm going to be using fair amount of onion, I might chop and pre-chop my onion at home and put it in like a Vaxil bag or something along those lines, because my Vaxilla is a incredibly it's an amazing accessory for camping, especially if you're going for extended periods of time, and potentially things like pre-chopping pumpkins and carrots and, you know, stuff that you can get away with that goes in the fridge.
Yep. Also
pre-cooking meals that you can Vaxil and reheat in a pot of water. Even rice, sometimes I do that because cooking rice can get really messy. So I like par cook it and then Vaxil it and then just heat it, and it works really well.
You can just heat the rice in the Vaxil bag.
Yeah, heat the rice in a Vaxil bag in a pot of water.
Because cleaning up after rice is gluggy and messy.
But of course, prepping, if it's just me and my partner going away versus prepping when all of us are going away, is quite different.
Yep. We have had talk around the company about offering better help with camp meals and ideas and that sort of thing. So, hopefully there's something in the near future to
watch this space as well.
Yeah, we'd like to do more with it.
But yeah, I'm going to make a note of that, Karen, to do a recipe specific episode or a meals episode.
All right, next question is from Lynette, who's a regular.
She's a regular
group,
commenter. And I reckon we've got quite a few questions in there from Lynette today.
Okay, cool. Well, lots of ideas and comments from Lynette, but this is on our Facebook group from Lynette. Excuse me. Personal essentials when camping and why. What won't you leave home without? Also, upgrades you've made, or would you like to make, and again, why? Or what did you start with and what do you have now, including reasons for gear switches?
I did take a little bit out of this question was we already know about your coffee kit, Ben, so not that.
Oh, jeez, come on.
So come up with something that isn't.
Are we going to retitle this episode to Rib Ben?
Sounds catchy.
There's there's a lot of levels to that question there.
Personal essentials when camping. I'm assuming, are we talking like?
Well, I class personal essentials as like things for hygiene.
Yeah, basically.
Medication and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for me, I don't worry about washing my hair or doing any of that sort of jazz. Take a bit of soap or body wash generally.
Yep.
I make sure I have some really good base layers and really good quality socks, especially if I'm camping in winter.
Yep.
Sheepskins, definitely never go without them to go over the chairs because they help to keep me really warm. Definitely won't leave home without those. I won't be leaving home without my Crocs now. Like literally they're an awesome slide on and off, like bomb proof. I would usually wear my Birkenstocks, but they just get trashed.
Yeah.
So those will be awesome.
I think
a head torch. I always will take a head torch.
Yep.
And something I always take with me now is a bird book and binoculars, because wherever we seem to go, there's so many beautiful birds, especially one of our regulars that we love, regular spots. And the binoculars just come out all the time, even if it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
So that's a really sort of a bit of a left of field thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of levels to this, but the things that come to my mind are like those lanterns that sit on the table, those round ones. Mm-hmm. probably wouldn't, if I started out again now, I'd just buy 12-volt LED strips or the little hanging lanterns that kind of have directional light downwards, because the ones that sit on the table they don't light up the table very well. And if you hang them up, there's a big dark patch underneath it, so I don't find them to be to be versatile.
Mm-hmm.
A gas stove, I've changed to multi-fuel and I wouldn't go back.
Mm-hmm. And that was because you didn't really have, or you wanted to, carrying gas safely was an issue for you, and having a big heavy gas bottle and, not having a trailer and towing, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, simplicity, but space as well. Like it's and ease of setup. I can pull that multi-fuel stove out and set it up anywhere without the need to attach hoses and all that sort of thing. So it's a bit of simplicity as well. I just really like it. A little bit longer to get it started, but it's kind of less
the trade-off.
around. Yeah, that's right. I can't really think what else. I mean, I've been through so much camping gear, but I can't think what so camp oven. I have got a cast iron camp oven, and I really enjoy cooking in cast iron camp oven, but in terms of durability, ease of portability, and also save a bit of weight, a spun steel cast oven. If I was to buy again now, I'd probably just get spun steel.
Yeah.
I think it gives a bit more versatility because that lid's also a fry pan or whatever if you need it as well. So I haven't made that change, but that's probably what I would do if I decide I want to do more camp oven cooking again.
Admittedly, I feel like, I mean, I don't know about you, and this probably doesn't give much hope to people out there either, but I feel like almost every week passes where I see something new, or I see something in a different light, or I hear about it being used differently in a way that I possibly hadn't thought of, or stuff that I've like, nah, that's a bit lame. Someone else has used it and I've been like, hang on a minute. So I feel like every week, fortnight, month, something will come up where I think, oh, I'd like to change that, or that's a good idea, or, so for me, there's not like a before and after yet. It's like a constant evolution. And I think a couple of upgrades we've made is we moved from our Waco, which was a 45, I think, into a dual zone 85 litre, a Mike Allman.
Right.
Because we wanted to upgrade, we wanted that dual zone feature, and we had more space in the van, and obviously with a lot of us and going away for long times and all that sort of jazz. But then not long after purchasing that and then fitting out the van and all that sort of jazz, I was like, damn it, why didn't we just get 2 drawer fridges and stack them? And, so there was that thing that in my mind I was like, well, why didn't I think about that? And so obviously that's not an upgrade that I'm going to make now, but down the track when we finish up with this van and we're just moving to the 2 of us, that's definitely something I'll change to, because then you don't have the hassle of worrying about a drawer slide, a fridge slide, and, there was a whole range of different issues that were raised having such a massive fridge and accessibility and stuff like that.
I would consider drawer fridges as well. I'm not sure. I have to see how they go. I feel like
they're massively underrated.
Yeah, because I put a shelf in the back of my 4-drive, and that then lifted my angle up. So getting into it is that's probably the worst bit about the back of my car is getting into that, because the lid doesn't open all the way, so you kind of have to hold it up, and it's difficult to get into. But I have a shelf that I could put 2 drawer fridges underneath, and then that saves all the space on top. So that would be a better solution.
Yeah, and I think for me, I worked out that I think it was only about 10 centimetres wider than the current fridge, but it was shallower, and we could literally stack them, and we'd end up, I think they were 45 litre fridges, so we'd end up with a bit more space.
Yeah.
You can run one as a freezer, one as a fridge. Anyway.
Yep. Awning's another one for me. I got an awning and I took it off, and I don't miss it. I didn't really use it much when I had it.
Yeah.
I think because I wanted to use the car all the time, I would think, I won't set the awning up because we're going to go for a drive later. So I'm going to set it up for an hour and then take the awning down and then set it up. So I've taken the awning off and it's sitting in my shed, and I don't miss it.
Yeah. I think that's the difference if you're driving somewhere and you're staying put versus you're driving somewhere and then you're adventuring out from there.
Yeah.
I think the other thing for consideration is the process that we went through to determine whether or not we were going to get a Sprinter van, or if we were going to get a full drive and a camper or caravan or things or something like that. And then settling on the Sprinter van just for so many different reasons, that was what worked for us. But then again, now we've got it, even though we love it, we're thinking about, the next thing that we'll have down the line and the differences in what our setup will be. And, I don't know if we'll necessarily move away from having a van, but not having four-wheel drive access and the sort of clearance that we have. And there's a lot of stuff, obviously, as you would know from me, I like to get out and go to real wild places, and the limitation there with the Sprinter is significant at this stage. So
you're never going to have it right, are you?
You're never going to have it right. And I think
it's always grass is greener on the other side.
It's always grass is greener on the other side. There's always going to be new and interesting and shiny things and ways to improve your setup. And I don't know if anybody will ever finally be happy.
No.
I don't know if that's a thing.
No. Well, happy, but always what if someone else has got
many layers to that question, and it's just made me think a lot, but I think we'll move on now.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, your turn.
That was my turn.
That was my turn. Okay.
We might have to split this
I think we're going to split this episode up.
We'll do one or two more.
Okay. So Karen Smart, I think another question from Karen, thank you, from Facebook group. In-depth comparison with use case tips between different Dometic icebox sizes, potentially better for a video, to be fair. Probably agree with you there, Karen. Including packing common size items so people can judge how it all packs up together and to better choose a size.
So we've had discussions about this type of video content before as well. So this is, we're probably not going to be able to answer that here for you, but it's certainly an angle that we've talked about wanting to cover in video content.
There is an episode that we've done called Fridges versus Iceboxes. I think that was the title of the episode, wasn't it?
Yes,
something along those lines, where we did talk about whether or not you go with a fridge or you go with an icebox, the pros and cons of each and how you can use both of them. So I think it just depends. I think it just depends on exactly what you're using your icebox for. If it's your standalone cooling unit, or if you're using it in conjunction with a fridge and things like that, Karen. But have a listen to that episode, and if you've got more questions on it, jump back onto the Facebook group and pick our brains a bit more. Yeah,
it might be a case of trying specific ones, or it's a hard one to answer in a question here, but hopefully in the not too distant future we can get some video content together to make some of these comparisons happen.
Yeah.
Should we do one more?
One more.
All right.
I reckon.
Okay. This is from Instagram again, from I Am Liz.
I think this is Lizzo, who works up at Brendale.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
When are you going to come visit all your fans at the Queensland Brendale store? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's Liz up at our Brendale store. It's a really good question. When are we going to visit Brendale?
Well, we're going to Queensland for the
We are. We're going to the Millmerran Camp Oven Festival in October.
Opposite ends of Brisbane.
It's about 3.5 hours drive from Brisbane or something. But we will be there with a little crew from Snowies. I think we've got a stand there, and we've got some other things happening because I think we're major sponsors this year of ACOF. So that is for the Queenslanders that are listening. That is the October long weekend, which is, I believe, Labor Day for everybody else, but Queen's birthday long weekend for Queenslanders.
And this is the 2022 event that we'll be at.
2022 event. So not quite the Brendale store, but we will be in Queensland. And if you are going to that, give us a shout, because it'll be cool to. Yeah,
you and I will be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. It'll be cool to know who's going to be there and be coming along and all that sort of jazz. So
that's the closest we'll get, or all we can give you at any time soon.
Yes.
Liz, sorry,
Liz.
We'd like to get up there more. I think it's just the cost of flights. I don't want to.
Liz is an amazing archer, and she's doing some sort of world championship type thing at the moment, or later this year or something. That's cool. If anybody from Brendale is listening and they know Liz, give her a massive congratulations, because it's an awesome effort to be so amazing at something.
That's cool. I must admit, I don't know the Brendale staff as well as I would like to.
Yeah. Cool.
Hopefully we can spend more time up there.
I reckon we've still got a fair few amount of questions, but I reckon we'll tidy it off now, and we'll come back with a part 2.
Yep. Let's wind that up for today. Hey, I like doing these episodes, Q&A episodes.
They're
so
fun.
let's wind up the rest after this. Thanks for watching. As we said, subscribe via YouTube or your favorite podcast app, and you can join in on the conversation for all of these questions. Add some more if you like. Ideas for future episodes, please let us know on the Snowy's Camping Show Facebook group. And if you've got questions for us, any of the suppliers that we talk about, Kev even, let us know and we'll make sure we get that answered for you.
Catch you later.
Thanks for watching.